Hi everyone, I'm Linda from Purple Rose Digital, and today I will show you how to make my Psalm 121 mini folio. We will start with the cover and we will use the cutout as a guide, the leftover paper, and the nighttime scene we will score on the front, so on the actual artwork, because that's going to be on the inside of your cover. It's going to form your liner, so we're scoring it on the front. So you're going to score both the spines, and when you're done with that, you're going to turn it around and we're going to score the front or the outside of the cover on the back where I've got my blue backing paper. So I'll score both spines, and we will also score the middle line on the back because it's going to fold in half. So we fold that in half, make sure it's aligned properly. Now we can fold it. Fold both spines, so we're folding on the inside the nighttime scene. We fold in both spines, and once you've done that, you can glue that together. So let me just grab my glue sheet. I prefer to use a glue stick, but you can use your favorite glue that you prefer, and just make sure you get it all the way to the edges, especially at the front flap and the spine. Just make sure it glues on nice and flat. You can use a ruler or a bone tool just to make it nice and flat. Make sure that it's stuck on everywhere and that nothing will come loose, and we'll let that dry. So we'll jump around a bit in this video to allow the items to dry properly before folding. So now we'll do the middle flip page. So you're gonna fold it in half, and it has a little flap to glue onto the spine of the folio cover. So we'll score the middle line on the back and just fold that slightly, and let me just check. So we're going to score the one flap on the front side of the artwork, and that's the flap without the lady, um, the flap on the left hand side. Sorry, no, the flap will score on the front with the lady standing. I just checked and saw that that was not correct, and we'll score the other flap on the inside. So the side without the lady, the left hand side, we will score on the inside again, because the flap's going to fold into one direction, not split. So once you've done that, you can fold in the flap or both flaps, and then you can glue that together. Again, make sure you get your glue onto the edges, and especially where the flap is, so that it's nice and flat. And you can use your ruler or bone tool again just to flatten it properly. Make sure everything is glued on. Again, we'll let that dry a little bit. If you have a bit of a line sticking out, you can just trim that down. Of course, you can use distressed ink around the edges. I don't have any, so I'm just making sure that I don't have any backing sticking out. Okay, so once that's dried a bit, we can glue on the flap onto the spine of the folio. So let's let that dry and we'll work on the main mechanism of the waterfall tag. So you fold it inwards, so the longer part will be at the bottom exactly as it is on the paper, and then we will score on the front artwork like I'm showing you here. So that artwork actually won't show, but I didn't feel like leaving it blank, so I put a little picture in there anyway, but you won't actually see that top part, so because that will be folding inward. So we're going to score the 5 lines where your 5 cards are going to be, and make sure you fold them nice and flat as well after you've scored them, because that will influence how your waterfall tag works. So it's 6 lines that you're going to score there, because you also need to score the fold line for folding it in half. So let's just flatten those folds nicely and make sure it's aligned nice and straight. The straighter it is, the better it will pull down through the band that we're going to do next. So just make all of them nice and flat. So I hope you can see sort of how it will work with all the folds there. So your tag, each tag will go on a different segment where we've scored it and folded it now. So now we can work on the cover. It's dry enough, so we can fold in the spines again. And then you can fold it into a little box shape. Just make your folds nice and flat so it will fold nicely into a box shape. And there you go. Okay, so now we can glue in the middle flip page. So you put some glue on that flap that you folded and you glue it onto the middle spine. Just make sure you don't go over the fold lines, and just align it nicely into that middle spine there. And glue that nice and flat and let that dry before you try and flip the page. So now we'll jump back to the waterfall tag, and we're going to fold the band. So you're going to fold it over the longer piece towards the back, and make sure you leave some space. I ended up adding some guidelines for you on the final design. You'll see here in the video that I actually redid the band because I didn't leave enough space with the first one. But on the final design, I did put some guidelines as to where to fold it to make sure you have enough space for your waterfall tag to roll through or to glide through that band. So once we've folded that, we can glue it together to make a little band. And you can make your folds nice and flat. Just check here. You see that will glide through like that. So it has to have enough space. So don't fold it too tight. Use the guidelines that I've put on the design. So now you can glue that together. Make sure you don't get any glue onto other places on the inside of this band, because then your waterfall tag will get stuck. So this part is quite important, not to get glue anywhere other than where you intend to. So place it back onto the longer part of your waterfall tag mechanism, and now we're going to glue the shorter part onto the front of that band, and we're going to align it so that the bottom of the short part is aligned with the bottom of that band. Again, make sure you don't get any glue anywhere else or your waterfall tag will get stuck. It's a little bit tricky as it's already on there, but I find it easier to do it this way, otherwise you struggle to get your long part of the mechanism into the band again. So just glue that nice and flat. Make sure it's aligned straight as well. You don't want your mechanism to roll skew or anything like that. So here you can see how it will work. You see those little lines at the top rolling like that. So now we'll start putting our verses on, and I find it easier to start with the last one and glue that on first. Again, make sure you're not getting any glue onto other parts, so just that small strip the size of the line, or the size of the part between two score lines. Sorry, tongue tie. So just that little strip between your two score lines is where you want your glue, not on the actual fold, if that makes sense. So we're gluing our last card first, or tag first. You can let that dry a bit, but you can, if you very delicately want to test it, you can do that, and push it up slowly so you can do the next one. Just be careful until the glue dries properly. So push that up so your next one comes out, and we glue on our second last tag. Or card, if you will. Okay, so you will notice here on the third one that we're going to do now that I saw that mine doesn't glide through correctly. So I ended up redoing that band completely, giving it a bit more space. So as I said, on the final design I did give you guidelines, so you should be fine if you follow that. But But yes, I redid that band. You'll see here it didn't roll through on that third one. Got stuck there. So here you see the new band, lots of space. And we're going to do that second card. Just make sure there's no glue anywhere else. Line it nice and straight. Now we can do that last one, the first card. And there you go, that's all of our cards. That's glued onto the mechanism, and now we can test it out. Just be careful not to overdo it while the glue is still a bit wet. Make sure it rolls through nicely. Okay, that looks good. So now we can glue it into our folio cover. And we will only place glue onto the back of that band. Works nice. Looking good. And we will put our glue on the back of the band where we glued it together, that little block there. And make sure again to not get any glue anywhere else than on the back of this band. And make sure your waterfall tag is folded in so your first card is showing, so that you can see the length of it, so not pulled down. And then glue that into your cover, making sure you don't go over the fold lines of the spines, and just make that nice and flat and let that dry a bit. And it's so satisfying to pull that and see how it works so well once you've done the whole mechanism. I'm just quickly going to decorate this bottom tab where you pull it out. I've got a little tag that says pull. Of course you can cut out an arrow or put on a piece of string or ribbon, whatever you prefer. I'm going to add a little flower there, one of the tiny little flower fussy cuts. That's part of the kit. And there you go. It looks so cute. Just have to test it again. Looks great. Now we can do our pockets. I did provide pockets in both directions. So you can choose how you want to place them, on which side of the flip page. I'm going to do them on the front side, and on the front side or the first panel of the cover. But you can do however you wish. Just fold that middle flip page nice and flat. Okay, I'm gonna speed up the video a bit, but yeah, just deciding where I want to put my pockets, putting glue on the glue flaps and gluing them onto my folio. If you don't like using the glue flaps, you can just cut them off and put a thin strip of glue onto the sides of your pockets and glue them in that way. I like the glue flaps because it makes it basically like a gusseted pocket, and you can get a bit more into them. So it's up to you if you want to use the glue flaps, or we can just cut them off and glue them straight on. So it's up to you. Make sure they're nice and flat so they don't pull loose when you start placing items in them. I'll put that one on the first panel of the folio. There you go, that's the pockets. Now we're going to jump to the mini journal, and we're going to join the two strips of the mini journal with the glue flap. So we're going to place some glue on that glue flap and join the two strips. In the final design, I did end up switching some pages around, so it doesn't look exactly like the one here in the video, but it's just the order of the pages that I've changed. I'll glue that nice and flat. Let that dry a bit, preferably, before you carry on. You can see in the video I've already folded the pages. So how you fold it is just accordion style, back and forth. We're going to leave the first flap. We're not going to glue the first and the last flap. So we're going to start on the second part, and you'll see now why we leave the front and the last one is so that we can put on a spine cover that I've included for you as well. So just continue gluing your pages back to back, the back sides together, until you have all of them glued together except for the first and the last. And again, make sure you don't get any glue anywhere else, or your pages will be stuck together. And then once you've done all of them and only the front and back one remains open like that, you can do the spine cover. So fold it over the spine. Don't fold it flat, sort of like a round fold, and make sure that it's folded in the middle, or that the ends are aligned, and then you can place it over your spine just to check. Glue that in place. Don't put glue right in the center, because you don't want to glue the spine part. You only want to glue it onto that back of the page. So just glue that on, and then the other side, just that strip there, not the whole cover. And then once you're happy with that, you can go ahead and glue the front and back page flat onto that to close that up. So there you go. Make that nice and flat, and that's our mini journal done. Again, make sure you don't have any glue anywhere else, and you can have a quick flip through just to check everything, make sure there's no glue. For some reason I always get glue onto the pages when I do the little journals. And that's that. So now we can start to decorate our tags and cards and the journal itself, if you want, and the folio, so you can see where you want to tuck them and which decorations you want to add. This is the fun part, or the more fun part. It's all fun. But yeah, you can just do as ever you like. I'm going to speed up the video here as I decorate. But you can just do that at your own pace once you've finished watching the video, when you're ready, and you can just enjoy and use whatever you like. There's a bunch of word tags and phrases, and there's a bunch of floral fussy cuts that you can use on the cover or the journal or on your cards and tags, just however you wish. You can just decorate it whichever way you like. And of course you can add a bunch of elements from scrap papers or material or ribbon. You can add some stamps or whatever you feel like doing. And now you can also start thinking about how you want to close your journal, what type of closure you want to use. I've decided to use a piece of ribbon that I'm gonna put into the middle of my mini journal to hold that in place, and then put that around the folio as well to tie it up. So I will just cut a small piece of ribbon here and tuck that in. You can do it however you like. Thanks for watching. That's the mini journal completed. Visit my Etsy store for more items.